Hey guys, thanks for clicking on another one. The patriarchy is obviously losing power. They can feel it, and they're scared right now. So they're going above and beyond to assert their power and their dominance that they feel so comfortable with. They're scared right now because they're losing that dominance. They're realizing that people are remaining unaffected by them. People are understanding what's going on in their brains better than they are. And that scares them, because a bully, someone who's narcissistic, someone who's fascistic, someone who's hiding behind a wall of intimidation and dominance, strength, power, they try to project this out as a defense mechanism for a wounded inner being. So understanding that we've been able to take the time to understand that they are wounded individuals, every single one of them that are drawn to these positions have an internal wounding that they haven't healed, because they haven't taken the time to approach it, because they look at healing as a sign of weakness. So they don't want to feel weak, so they project strength and therefore authority, and authority gives them strength, perceived strength over people. It's when people aren't intimidated by their authority that they've been given, not earned through respect, but given. When I was young, and I don't want to get personal, but I had an oppressor. He was a captain in the army, a stepdad, who didn't want me to be there. I was the oldest child of my mother. He was second in line with his kids. In his mind, I shouldn't have been there. But he always told me that respect was earned. But he never did anything to earn my respect. His respect was placed. And that's exactly what happens with people that have internal wounding. They are placed into positions of authority over people, and they expect the respect to be reciprocated, regardless of their projecting outward. They project a need for their intimidation to respond, to reciprocate authority, to show them that your fear is giving them authority. When you show them no fear, you're taking away their authority, because they don't feel they've earned it inside. That yes, they were given it, and if they can trick you into believing and going along with their projection of authority, then they're winning. Then they feel good. That's their dopamine hit. That's their high. If you get in the way of that, like Renee did, you take away that authority, you start to connect with them, and you start to show them, hey, I understand you, dude. Maybe even better than you understand yourself. You completely take the wind out of their sails. You actually make them feel threatened, because they've never dug that deep inside themselves. They've never allowed themselves to have a good cry, to get it out, to get out that wounding from childhood. They've been told to repress it, because bringing it out, talking about it, is weakness. And if they show weakness, they fear that they're going to be ridiculed for it, that bringing it out would show their flaws and their personal weaknesses. And in a world where you're displaying your authority on your shoulders and you're not actually deriving it from inside, from your core, but you're wearing it on your shoulders, it's easy to take off. When it comes from your core, you can't dispute it. It's you, it's your essence. And when you take theirs off of their shoulders and reveal that there's nothing left, that there's weakness underneath, there's weakness because they haven't approached it. They haven't challenged it, brought it into the light to understand it and to integrate it and to then become powerful as a result of it. They haven't allowed themselves this opportunity, so they go around and bully others with their authority. It's patriarchal. It's a product of the system, of the way things were for millennia, back to kings who rewrote the Bible in a way that made the king seem like the ultimate superpower, that he could do anything, even though according to the Bible they changed the language. And now we aspire to resemble the kings in the Bible. We read the Bible as a guide for our lives, right? So anything that's in the Bible about women submitting to men and men being the ultimate authority and all this stuff, that was also synonymous with the king. People would submit to the king and that authority. That's a patriarchal hierarchy. And that only works if you give that authority over you. If you show it, it has no authority. Like the true Jesus, the Yahweh, you remove the authority of the church and the institutions that would just come in and set up shop and say, we have authority, obey my authority, and expect others through intimidation to follow. That's bullying. That's intimidating. That's gaslighting. It's narcissistic. People that follow fascism, like real fascism, people that just get inspired and awestruck and admiring, idolizing images of power, other power, like domination, like war, military, people that get off on strength in militaries and war and killing and the ability to kill. That fascism is a product of the patriarchy, which the patriarchy, even back to the days of the Bible and when it was all being talked about and Yahweh was around and all that, that's been changed so that we're confused inside. This is coming up on 10 minutes, so I'm going to end this one here, but be sure to check out the next one. This is part 1, check out part 2, and I'll see you there. And until then, never stop spreading your light. I love you. Wow, that first one was pretty loud. Sorry about that. I had a fan going, and I just realized after turning it off how loud that really was. I hope you were able to hear me. I'm going to put the text up here like I usually do, just in case. But we were talking about fascism and how it's starting to see its own weaknesses. It's starting to get scared because we're seeing it for what it is. And we're seeing that the authority that it derives, that it relies on, it's given authority. When you allow something to intimidate you, or when you participate, you're giving it authority. And you're giving it an ability to exist as it proclaims it is. And so when fascistic entities start to see that, you're no longer giving it an ability to exist, you're denying it its legitimacy, that it starts to get, instead of you being the one intimidated, it starts to get intimidated, because its only authority is derived from your compliance with it. And when it starts to see that you're no longer compliant, it's going to start to get worried, and then it's going to start to overstep. Just like a true narcissist pushing boundaries. They'll only push boundaries when they have to in order to get you to concede. So if they don't have to push boundaries and all they have to do is gaslight, then they'll just gaslight, because that's easier. It's an easier way to get your energy and your compliance. But it's when their gaslighting fails and you show them with mental fortitude that you can see right through their trickery, that then they have to start pushing boundaries through intimidation. And this is where things go wrong, because they feel they still have that given authority that we were talking about. And they're going to use it to the bitter end, that they won't admit that their authority is not derived from your respect. Their authority is derived from others agreeing with them. And that's not true power, that's force. We all know which is more powerful, power or force. Consciousness. Challenging the incoherent structures like fascism, capitalism. Bringing it out into the light and showing it for what it is, not hiding behind their obfuscation and gaslighting. We're bringing it out, we're exposing them, and they're scared. They're getting intimidated. And it shows what we can do when they try to gaslight and intimidate you is don't give them a reason to push the boundaries, to invade your boundaries. Don't give them a reason. Don't give them the option. That's easier said than done in some cases. But it really comes down to knowing what rights they say they have and what rights you actually have. Knowing what is law and what protects you versus what laws are they violating, trying to get me to believe in their authority. Knowing the truth ultimately gives you the power. When you see the truth for what it is and not automatically underwriting their authority because they say they have it or because someone else says they have it. The authority that they would derive from the situation is based on authority they were given. How they use that authority moving forward is what will show the truth in their actions. So, if they're not being truthful with you, it will show. And then you can call them out on that. The patriarchy would rather have you go along with their gaslighting, their manipulation tactics, in order to concede to their authority. And ultimately give yourself up. It's a lie. It's dishonest. But if you volunteer for it, like opening the door and having the conversation with them, they knock on your door and you open it in order to have a decent, you would do that for anyone, right? A decent human being. They take advantage of that. Now they have entry. You've just opened your fortifications. Versus right off the bat, not meeting their act of intimidation. 2 or 3 armed people come into your door, boom, boom, boom. Should that warrant an opened response? Or no, I think we can talk through the door. What do you want? You're coming here with, you're armed in my home, at my doorstep. What are you here for? What's your business? We don't need to be talking face to face like I would greet my neighbor. My neighbor doesn't come to my house armed, and not with 3 of them. So, conduct business that way, in that fashion. There's a lot more that goes into that, but we're running out of time here, so pick this up on the next one, part 3, and we'll continue talking about how to deal with artificial authority and how it tries to take advantage through gaslighting and manipulation tactics. Thanks for sticking around for this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, never stop spreading your light. I love you. Hey, this is part 3, talking about the exposing fascism, patriarchy, narcissism in the system. Exposing it, let's bring it into the light, and let's dissolve it, finally. We're talking about if your neighbor was to come to your house and knock on your door, you would look out and see your neighbor standing there. You'd open the door and greet them face to face. So you might even invite them in right away without even finding out why they're there first. That's a neighborly thing to do. That's spreading love. That's someone that you know, and obviously, when cops come to your door, armed, body armor, a lot of times wearing colors now that aren't even part of the uniform code of whatever the fuck. They thought it was black or blue, always, my whole life. Now all of a sudden they're allowed to wear desert camo, olive drab, all these military colors with obvious chest rigs, tons of extra magazines. They are commandos. They literally are bringing the military into our civil servants. But the point is, when those people come to your door, don't open it. They should expect that you're not going to open it, but they would love for you to open it, because that gives them, now you've just broken your barrier right there. You wouldn't open your door for armed men, right? And a lot of times they're wearing gaiters. Treat it like that. You identify them, you see them for what they are. Conversation can happen through the door. Because the minute you open your door, you allow them in, you're taking down one of your defenses, one of your barriers to keep them out, because they would obviously need a warrant. I think we all know that by now, like, in order to come in further. But if you open that door, you're now exposing them to what's happening on the inside, so they can say smell, or they can say I heard something. They can find all kinds of reasons to breach your defenses and get in and do what they want to do, which is exercise their authority through intimidation. They are shitty lawyers with guns and badges. They're not even, the ICE ones aren't even trained. They're narcissistic men that are drawn to this type of stuff. These types of roles, guns and body armor and military, fascism. They draw a certain specific type of person that's narcissistic and has inner wounding that has not ever been addressed or healed. No one gets into those positions or is drawn to those positions who isn't trying to build a fortress around their own inner weaknesses, which is narcissism. They're taught not to address their own inner weaknesses because it's a sign of weakness. Bringing it out, they're taught, will not make them stronger. The patriarchy teaches them that. Bringing it out will only bring on ridicule and shame. So keeping it hidden is the best way to deal with it. Keeping it hidden makes them damaged people. It makes them susceptible to things that they wouldn't normally be susceptible to. It makes them not able to know themselves fully because they're hiding themselves from the world, and in doing that, they're hiding themselves from themselves. They're taught that to look into any issues that they might be having inside is that sign of weakness. And the fortress that they've built around their heart, their inside, any weakness in that would cause it to crumble. And they can't have that, so they can't show weakness. So they can't admit that they have feelings that need to be addressed, that need to be brought into the light. They choose to gaslight themselves and others to believing that they're okay, that they're normal. But in reality, their power is derived through force, through manipulation, through lies and gaslighting. They lie to themselves, they play games, they run scripts to get you and manipulate you into submitting to their authority that they say they have. And the minute that you do that, you open your door and greet them face to face like you would any other normal human, like most people would. You see an average police that's not wearing a chest rig, or he's just got his uniform shirt on, a sidearm, and a badge, and he's knocking on your door, and something happened in the neighborhood. Like, you might even open the door and say, hey, what's going on, officer? I didn't expect you here at this time of night. Whatever it is, it's honest. You're gonna greet him face to face. But when you see 3 or 4 armed, body armored, military color, camo, olive drab, desert tan camo coming to your door, chest rigs, sidearms, front, that's not a house call. They're there to do you harm. You don't greet that face to face. You don't meet their expectation of authority by submitting to their authority. You say, we can conduct business through this door. And in the same sense, if you are face to face with them, don't give them anything. Answer no questions. And try to resist. It's going to be futile, because they have the strength because of the authority they were given. The more this is the line that we draw. We don't resist physically, but we resist their authority in other ways. We don't fight it, but we don't give in to their manipulation. And we're coming up on 10 minutes again, so check out my next one. I'm going to continue this, and I hope to see you there. Until then, never stop spreading your light. I love you. Hey guys, thanks for checking out the next one. The patriarchy is losing its power, and you can tell this because you can see how they're acting. They're starting to not play by the rules anymore. They're realizing that in order to get and maintain their authority, they're not earning it anymore. They're using it. They're using the authority that was given and not earning it. There was a time when they earned it, and it was given. It was reciprocal. They showed they were deserving of the power, and so we gave it to them. It's gotten to the point now where the things that they're trying to do, taking away rights, liberties, infringing on people's well-being in pursuit of happiness, is an obvious overstep. They know that the only way to keep this going is they're not playing by the rules anymore. And then when they get caught and they do something that's outside of the rules, and that is in clear violation, they change the rules. They gaslight even more. They try to manipulate you into believing their side of the story, their narrative, even though you know what the truth is. You've seen the truth for yourself. They still would try to convince you that your truth is incorrect. Their truth is the right truth. That's narcissism. That's a product of the patriarchy. And it's being used in a fascistic way to promote strength and authority for the entire industrial military complex. This fascistic, authoritarian regime, we can call it names throughout history. It's been called Nazi, the ICE agents, you can call them Gestapo. We're seeing it happen again, like in real time. We're also seeing what we saw happened in Germany. There were people that went along with the Nazis because it was the thing to do. They made it look popular to be a Nazi. Same thing. We're looking at history. We're looking at the Nazis, right? The actual German Nazis. How terrible a Nazi was. From a historical sense, yes. In real time, they didn't believe they were wrong. They didn't believe they were bad. It's the same thing that's happening now. Fascism is taking over for nationalism. White Christian nationalists are the modern day Nazis. That's not just a derogatory name, that is literal fact. The more we deny them agency and authority and the ability to intimidate us, we strip them of their power. They're beginning to crumble. If the patriarchy is dead, it's falling, it's failing, and it's showing the signs of breaking apart at the seams because it's having to start overstep more and more bounds, more and more boundaries. The same thing a narcissist would do. When a narcissist wants to come after your energy, they start pushing boundaries. They start seeing which boundaries they can get you to fail on. Which ones will you give in to? Which boundaries are the weakest? That's a narcissistic tactic, and it's being used because they don't earn their authority. How don't they earn it? They have in the past. They were given the authority because they earned it in the past. It goes back to taxation without representation. We allowed them to tax us and to get powerful because we felt represented. We're seeing that we're no longer represented, but they're still trying to take their authority from us. Now they have to start taking it through intimidation. This is a narcissistic tactic. When narcissism is used as a weapon, it is anti-truth, and only the truth can survive moving forward. Only truthful systems that are built in truth, that are founded in truth, honesty, will survive. False power will defeat itself. It's crumbling now. We're seeing it. What we can do that won't allow them to have the power over you is keeping yourself centered in truth and aligned with your knowing what is right and wrong. Follow your heart. Trust what's inside. Don't let them get your head. They'll try to confuse you, manipulate you, gaslight you into believing in their authority, into submitting. I'm not saying don't submit. I'm saying don't give them your emotional. Don't show them their authority through your emotions. Don't let them get to you. Stay strong. And you'll see their power fade. You'll see their authority slip. Because they can see that they're not dealing with someone who's lying to the outside, to themselves. They're dealing with someone who knows their truth. And thank you for checking out another one. Be sure to check out my next one, and I'll see you there. Until then, never stop spreading your light. I love you. Hey guys, thanks for checking out the next one. The patriarchy is losing its power, and you can tell this because you can see how they're acting. They're starting to not play by the rules anymore. They're realizing that in order to get and maintain their authority, they're not earning it anymore. They're using it. They're using the authority that was given and not earning it. There was a time when they earned it, and it was given. It was reciprocal. They showed they were deserving of the power, and so we gave it to them. It's gotten to the point now where the things that they're trying to do, taking away rights, liberties, infringing on people's well-being in pursuit of happiness, is an obvious overstep. They know that the only way to keep this going is they're not playing by the rules anymore. And then when they get caught and they do something that's outside of the rules, and that is in clear violation, they change the rules. They gaslight even more. They try to manipulate you into believing their side of the story, their narrative, even though you know what the truth is. You've seen the truth for yourself. They still would try to convince you that your truth is incorrect. Their truth is the right truth. That's narcissism. That's a product of the patriarchy. And it's being used in a fascistic way to promote strength and authority for the entire industrial military complex. This fascistic, authoritarian regime, we can call it names throughout history. It's been called Nazi, the ICE agents, you can call them Gestapo. We're seeing it happen again, like in real time. We're also seeing what we saw happened in Germany. There were people that went along with the Nazis because it was the thing to do. They made it look popular to be a Nazi. Same thing. We're looking at history. We're looking at the Nazis, right? The actual German Nazis. How terrible a Nazi was. From a historical sense, yes. In real time, they didn't believe they were wrong. They didn't believe they were bad. It's the same thing that's happening now. Fascism is taking over for nationalism. White Christian nationalists are the modern day Nazis. That's not just a derogatory name, that is literal fact. The more we deny them agency and authority and the ability to intimidate us, we strip them of their power. They're beginning to crumble. The patriarchy is dead. It's falling. It's failing. And it's showing the signs of breaking apart at the seams because it's having to start overstep more and more bounds, more and more boundaries. The same thing a narcissist would do. When a narcissist wants to come after your energy, they start pushing boundaries. They start seeing which boundaries they can get you to fail on. Which ones will you give in to? Which boundaries are the weakest? That's a narcissistic tactic, and it's being used because they don't earn their authority. How don't they earn it? They have in the past. They were given the authority because they earned it in the past. It goes back to taxation without representation. We allowed them to tax us and to get powerful because we felt represented. We're seeing that we're no longer represented, but they're still trying to take their authority from us. Now they have to start taking it through intimidation. This is a narcissistic tactic. When narcissism is used as a weapon, it is anti-truth, and only the truth can survive moving forward. Only truthful systems that are built in truth, that are founded in truth, honesty, will survive. False power will defeat itself. It's crumbling now. We're seeing it. What we can do that won't allow them to have the power over you is keeping yourself centered in truth and aligned with your knowing what is right and wrong. Follow your heart. Trust what's inside. Don't let them get your head. They'll try to confuse you, manipulate you, gaslight you into believing in their authority, into submitting. I'm not saying don't submit. I'm saying don't give them your emotional. Don't show them their authority through your emotions. Don't let them get to you. Stay strong. And you'll see their power fade. You'll see their authority slip. Because they can see that they're not dealing with someone who's lying to the outside, to themselves. They're dealing with someone who knows their truth. And thank you for checking out another one. Be sure to check out my next one, and I'll see you there. Until then, never stop spreading your light. I love you. Welcome back. Submitting to their lies is the worst mistake you could make. For one thing, it's acknowledging something that is untruth. It's acknowledging an untruth and giving it the authority of a truth. You're forcing the lie onto yourself then, if you submit to their lies. The narcissist will attempt to gaslight, which is another form of lie. Manipulate, subterfuge, the truth, so that you submit to their version and you're submitting to that lie. You are allowing it to be called truth. You're inverting it. And in that inversion, it strips your authority, your inner truth. It subjects you to the karma of that lie. Giving into the gaslighting, the manipulation tactics, is subjecting yourself to the karma that comes from that. Not giving your authority to it, not giving it authority, is to take that truth and that karma back for yourself. To not question it if it hasn't earned it, is to submit to the karma of whatever manipulation they're attempting to get you to concede to. The narcissist is lying to themselves. They're lying about inner wounding, inner healing that needs to be done. They choose not to acknowledge themselves and their inner wounding because they were taught that it's a sign of weakness. That to acknowledge that within themselves would be to show that weakness and then become subjected to ridicule. They're taught to ridicule others who show that weakness in order to perpetuate the lie that bringing out inner wounding for healing is something that is bad, something to not be desired. To heal a wound goes against ideologies. Healing a wound is natural. That is what we do. The patriarchy and narcissism would teach you not to heal your wounds, because in a fight, or in any case, a wound is easier to manipulate. Think of if you're in a fight, someone's got a wound, you stick your thumb into it. It's easy to manipulate. Same concept. People who have inner wounds that aren't healed are easy to manipulate. They're manipulated into manipulating others not to heal their wounds. And it's a self-perpetuating cycle. It just keeps going and feeding itself. Keeping wounded people unhealed and looking for answers outside of themselves because they were taught not to look at the wounding inside, but instead to build a fortress around it, a fortress of lies and manipulation and gaslighting. Now, getting the world to believe in this fortress, this artificial authority that they have over themselves, individually, their own authority, that is artificial because it's built on lies and gaslighting. What is gas? It's a vapor. The fortress is built out of vapor. It doesn't exist. It's artificial. It's made up. The minute there's a fissure, a fracture, it crumbles. They reel. They go into defense mode. Because to reveal any weakness in their structure that they've built, this artificial authority that they have over themselves, is to remove it all, to expose it all to the light. And in the light is where you find the healing. That's where the healing takes place, is exposure. People who would conceal, hide it away. Their wounds are the easiest to manipulate. That's why the patriarchal system wants everyone wounded and in denial about that wounding. They can keep you in denial and keep you wondering why you feel this way, denying the thoughts that might come in your head saying, no, that's not me, I don't believe that. And then getting worried about that, so you deny it even more, and then you seek pleasure and gratification, instant gratification for things, dopamine, to soothe. Don't you see how that's so easy to manipulate in people? Why they would want everyone to be in denial of their own truth, so that they're easy to manipulate, so that they are pleasure seeking, instant gratification. These are the tools of consumer capitalism. This is what keeps us buying things. Vacations, new shoes, new purses, things we don't need, just for the sake of buying it, just so we feel better in that moment. This is what gets us to pay extra for that, to get it sooner, instead of just waiting for something that you need. Truly, you'll plan ahead and wait for it to come. Something that you want it to come right away, and you'll pay even more to get it there. That's a manipulation tactic. That's consumer capitalism. So you can see how dangerous it is to have a population of wounded people who don't believe that they're wounded, but are wondering why they feel this way, who are clamoring for the top on the socioeconomic ladder, on that hamster wheel. They just keep running and wondering why they're not getting anywhere, but all of their money is going to these instant gratification things. Every day, as soon as it comes in, it goes right back out. That's the idea. That's what's keeping them slaves. And I'll end on that one because we're coming up on 10 minutes again. Thank you for joining me for this one. Be sure to check out the next one. And until then, never stop spreading your light. I love you. When we allow ourselves, oh hi, welcome back for another one. When we allow ourselves to become carried away with clamoring for the top, clamoring for position in the socioeconomic ladder, what we're essentially doing is looking to our left and looking to our right and comparing ourselves to everyone around us. We're judging, we're assessing, we're seeing where do we fall in this pursuit of greatness. We're taught to pursue this greatness because that's the place to be, is at the top. We're taught that it's an inversion intentionally placed by the patriarchy. The pursuit for the top is an inversion intentionally placed by the patriarchy. Gets us to disregard nature, the natural order of things. When you're in pursuit of the top, the strength, the true strength, is at the base. It's down here. Only very few can actually enjoy the top. The rest below it just become just another part of that base. No one actually gets to enjoy the top that we all try to get to. What is the difference? The strong base or the easily toppled top? The patriarchy would have us all try to get here. They're inverting it. That doesn't work. This topples. This is weak. This falls. You cannot invert the pyramid and have everyone trying to get to the top. That's what the patriarchy is doing, has done for centuries, millennia. They've written religion to suit their ideologies of how they would pursue power, institute power, and get us to submit to their imposed authority. Get us clamoring for a position on that pyramid. And that inverts it. If everyone is trying to get up the ladder, who's holding the base? That's where the power is. No one can get to the absolute top. Only very few of us. So why are we even holding up the base? Because the patriarchy says that's the thing to do. Hold it up so that others can get up, and hopefully you can get above. That teaches you to put your fellow person into a position beneath you. That teaches you to do everything you can to outperform that other person, put them beneath you, not recognize their individual abilities and skills and beauty and goals and humanity. It makes you dehumanize everyone around you so that you feel that you have the best chance of getting a higher position in that pyramid. It's a patriarchal system. Without everyone's participation in it, it crumbles. The patriarchy would have you believe in their lies. They would have you dehumanize everyone around you. They would have you doubt everything that isn't coming from them. That's why the Bible is written the way it is, rewritten the way it is. Books were deleted, the language was changed to reflect these patriarchal ideologies for control. There was a time when religion was required for control. Patriarchy is falling. It's failing. It's in its death throes. We're exposing it for what it is. The narcissism. We're exposing that fortress, the inner wounding, the not accepting itself for what it is, the denial. Through exposure, we are opening it up, we're healing it. But it's gonna fight back because it's scared, just like a narcissist, to lose its concealment of its wounding. You reveal the wound, you reveal the weakness. They're taught to perceive it as a weakness because they're taught not to heal it. So it stays a weakness. And then it's so easily manipulated. That is the goal of the patriarchy, for control of all of us. We're taught not to heal it so that they can use it against us. Our own inner wounding, use that against us. Getting us to use it against ourselves. But we're exposing that. We're reclaiming our power and our authority. They're trying to use force to get us to submit to that authority. But authority is earned, and they have not earned it. They're trying to take it through force and manipulation. And if you give it willingly, then you take on the karma of that, which means you're submitting, you're giving them your authority. If you call it out for what it is, and you remain unaffected by it, you show it you're unbothered, you reserve that power for yourself. Stay aligned. Thanks for checking out another one. I'll see you in the next one. And until then, never stop spreading your light. I love you. Hey, welcome back. The patriarchy is concealing an inner wounding through narcissism. They're protecting that wounding from the light. They're attempting not to have that wound exposed because they're taught that that's a weakness. And it is only a weakness if it remains unhealed. The only way to heal it is to expose it. And they're taught that that will bring ridicule and therefore crumble the rest of their fortress that they've built around this wound to keep it safe from attacks like ridicule. Narcissism keeps people weak. Narcissism is an example of weakness. Fascism is rooted in narcissism. The patriarchy feeds all of this. It supports all of this. These are tied together. It's a self-supporting, self-perpetuating, cyclical ideology that the goal is to keep people weak, to keep people scared of themselves, of others, of authority, to keep them scared children inside. The more they can hide it and build up their defenses and make it look like they're not, the more they believe their lies, they can get others to believe their lies. The more the cycle continues. As soon as you show them that their narcissistic fortress, their concealment, is no longer protecting them, you can see through it. You can see through the gaslighting. As soon as you show them that, they're going to try to use other tactics to get your submission. Forceful tactics, intimidation, to get you to take on the karma of submitting to them. That is how they reclaim their power, is by you giving it to them voluntarily through submission. When you submit to an intimidation, you are voluntarily giving up your power and taking on that karma. No power should be derived through intimidation. That is a product of the patriarchy. They use fascism to intimidate. No power should be derived through intimidation. That is a product of the patriarchy. Narcissism is a product of the patriarchy. It's taught denial and concealment, and will use intimidation if it has to. But it's taught manipulation, and it would much prefer to gaslight itself to your power that you give it voluntarily by trusting it. But it's built on lies. Its fortress is lies, manipulation, deceit, concealment. If you submit to that without question, without seeking the real truth, then you're submitting your authority, your power to them voluntarily, and you take on the karma from that. The patriarchy would teach us not to seek truth, not to think critically, not to use discernment, not to question. Questioning is dangerous. They don't want you to question and seek truth because the source of their power over you is built on a lie, an inversion. And if they can continue to get your power and your submission, they continue to get authority from you. And if they can continue to do that based on their lies, they will tell you that to question their lies is dangerous, is not acceptable, is the enemy. They make you the terrorist for questioning them. They make you the enemy. They make you the evil for questioning them, because they know their defenses are weak. They're only as strong as the truth that holds them up, and there is no truth that holds them up. It's lies and obfuscation, concealment. It's crumbling. When we use our discernment and we understand what is truth, what is lies, what is artificial, we start seeing the intention, and we start exposing it for what it is: manipulation, control. The narcissistic patriarchy would seek to have you divide yourself and place yourself into confined spaces so that you feel so confined that you are so easily manipulated into seeking any sort of comfort outside of the confinement that you're in. When comfort is offered, even a little bit, it's taken, it's taken, it's taken, it's taken, it's taken. And people wonder why they're paycheck to paycheck. Not just because of that. That's part of it. Keeps you a consumer of instant gratification. We're coming up on 10 minutes. Again, thanks for joining me for this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, never stop spreading your light. I love you. Patriarchy. Hi, welcome back to the next one. The patriarchy, keeping you confined in smaller and smaller containers, smaller and smaller containers, so that when you seek outside and you say, I've had enough of this, I'm bored, I need more, I need something, I need a release, I need something. The smaller the container you're in, the easier it is to offer you a release, and the more likely you are to spend more on it to get it. If you're in a container this big and someone offers you a container this big, how much are you going to spend? You're going to spend everything you can to get that bigger container? Are you going to spend more so that it comes faster? Don't forget who put you in this container. It wasn't you. They would like for you to believe that it is. They put you here. They put you here so that you're manipulatable. They have you here so they know that when they offer you this, you'll take it. And you'll spend everything you got to get there. They keep you a consumer because you're in this box that they put you in. And you're seeking outside. You're seeking. This box is boring. I want something else in my life. It keeps you a consumer. It keeps you pleasure seeking, instant gratification. Next thing you know, you have nothing. It's just you in that box still. You've gotten nowhere but instant gratification, which doesn't last long. And you're still in this box. The box that they put you in. The box that they forced you into believing was right, was correct, was just how things are. But this is the box the patriarchy designed for you. And it's built on narcissism. It's built on denial, self-denial. Denial of oneself. Denial of the inner wounding and the shadow aspects of yourself. It's denial. So that you build a box around it, a fortress of deception, of lies. It's artificial. It has no standing in the light. If it got exposed, if it became exposed, it would dissolve. So it becomes your mission to make it so that it never gets exposed. Pause for capitalism. They would have you believe that that inner wounding is the weakness. And it only remains weakness if it's not healed. That wound does become a weakness. They manipulate you into believing that healing it is the wrong thing to do. Exposing it is the wrong thing to do. Hiding it is the correct thing to do. Keeping it hidden from yourself and the world is the correct thing to do. That way they can manipulate it. Therefore, you are controllable to them. By bringing it out into the light and healing it and acknowledging yourself, you are taking your own power and control back for yourself and not allowing them to be able to manipulate that part of you. When I say control, I mean they can control your behavior this way, your tendencies, your ideologies. They control your day-to-day life by keeping you trapped in the narcissistic, patriarchal confinement and constantly seeking outside of that bigger, better, always trying to expand, always trying to get to the top. The top of what? The pyramid is strongest at its base. Only very few get to the top. The rest just become part of the base of the pyramid above it. The ladder is only supported by the rungs underneath it. And if you're willing to step on other people to get up that ladder, that makes you dehumanize your own kind, and it makes you take on the karma of that. In your pursuit of what the patriarchy has told you is desirable. It's desirable because of the wounding that they've had you deny for yourself, the healing that they've had you deny yourself, the wounding that they have manipulated you into pushing away, to concealing, to build a blister around it. Don't heal it. Keep it festering, but keep it concealed so that only they know it's there and only they can control it. But to everyone else, your subterfuge is your ego. But they know that inside, you're hungry. You're going to be seeking pleasure outside of yourself, instant gratification. They know it makes the best consumers. People that buy without question, just for sake of buying it, to get the pleasure from it, that dopamine hit. They know that the most controllable people are the ones that are seeking the dopamine. They're the most manipulatable. They're the ones who don't question themselves or anyone else. If you're not prepared to question yourself and dig deep inside, go real deep, You're not going to question anything outside of yourself. You take it at face value. Read a book by its cover. All of these dangerous activities that conceal the truth from us, because we conceal our own truth from ourselves. So we don't know what truth actually looks like. We just know what lies sound better than others. That's the idea. That's the manipulation. That's the patriarchy. Use your discernment. Look inside yourself. Heal. Healing is good. Make it so that no wounds of yours can be manipulated. Find your inner strength and alignment. And come check out the next one. Until then, never stop spreading your light. I love you. In the end, the patriarchy seeks to make you doubt yourself and your inner truths. Because if it hasn't allowed you the chance to expose your true self, it has forced you to believe that keeping it concealed is the correct thing to do. It hasn't allowed you to acknowledge your own truth. It has made you look at your own truth as incorrect. It's made you doubt yourself, because from that place of ignoring your inner truth, the truth that says there's something in here that doesn't feel right. There's something in here, I don't know what it is, but there's something that I better put away. I better conceal. I better not talk about it. I better not bring it out into the light. It's better to keep it hidden. That is the thing that keeps you in denial of your true self. And if you're in denial of your own truth, you're not going to be able to see the truth in others. You're going to believe the lies that sound the best. You're going to seek gratification outside of yourself. You're going to doubt your own inner truth and alignment. When you don't have that inner alignment, you're going to seek it outside of yourself through acceptance, through, what the fuck is the word for that? Through acceptance. You feel that if you can get others to go along with your lies, it makes your own lies more believable, and it makes you feel better about them. As long as others will corroborate with your lies, it makes them more real. That's why people seek others' acceptance. That is why people seek approval. If you're seeking approval from other people based on lies, based on your own narcissism, your own unacknowledged wounding, your own gaslighting, you seek approval and you get it, it makes you feel better about yourself. Knowing inside that they're lies, but knowing that you got others to corroborate with it. And that's why continuous approval seeking is a product of narcissism, which is a product of the patriarchy, which keeps you in a self-perpetual cycle of wounding. Never allowing yourself to see truth, to seek healing, to expose it so that it might be healed. And then, knowing your inner truth and your alignment, you don't need approval. Acceptance is always nice, but you don't need it. Keeping you in the state of needing it keeps you manipulatable, keeps you seeking outside of yourself, keeps you consuming the hamster wheel of consumer capitalism that keeps people treading water, drowning in debt, clamoring for the top, stepping on other people, comparing themselves to other people, hoarding resources. And it keeps them in manipulation cycles of validation and approval seeking, status, so that they feel better about themselves, without just looking at the freest thing you can do, the least costly thing you can do, costs the most. It's the cost of your own ego. To look inside yourself and acknowledge that within yourself, there's wounding, there's a weakness here. It's there. That's the cost. To avoid it will cost you everything else. It's the most costly thing, avoiding it. The cheapest thing you can do for yourself is to open it up and expose it. Expose yourself to that healing that happens. But we're told by the patriarchy to seek the easiest thing to do. It's another product of the patriarchy, is laziness. Seeking the easiest route, the easiest thing. Path of least resistance. Maybe nature is lazy. But keeping you in that state of unwillingness to do the harder work for the bigger reward, or sacrifice up front for the bigger payout in the end. That goes back to, I think it's the marshmallow experiment that they talk about. It's the prefrontal lobe development, the evolution, what's that word? The developmental evolution of the prefrontal lobe. It's the ability to say, I'm not going to eat this marshmallow now because in 5 minutes I'll get 3 of them. They test that on monkeys and small children, but they do that to adults through manipulation. They've been doing it for decades. What can get you to spend more if you can get it now, versus artificially telling you it's going to be longer when that didn't have to. That was purely a tactic of getting you to spend more to get it now. It's manipulation. It's all a product of the patriarchy and the unhealed narcissist. Thanks for joining me for another one. Please check out my next ones, and I'll see you there. And until then, never stop spreading your light. I love you.